for granted so easily. Getting to kiss my woman's face, going to church with her on Sunday. Morning life was never quite the same as we'd wake up to that sunlight, drinking coffee through the sunrise. I'm not complaining, darling, but it'd be nice.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. East Coast DNA's format has been slowly changing this year, but we're back with another Zoom chat. So this one, we probably, if I had been a little bit more coordinated with you there, Ethan, we probably could have done this one in person. You're not that far away from me.
Yeah.
So for anyone unfamiliar, the young gentleman we have here today as our guest is Ethan Chitty out of Truro, Nova Scotia. So welcome, Ethan.
Thank you.
Now you have come on here to talk about a music festival that you put together, but I also wanted to note that you're also a member of one of the bands that's on this lineup.
Yeah.
So there's a few different little things there to unpack, but instantly when you reached out, I saw the poster for your event, and it was very it had the DIY elements, but it was very eye-popping, and it really took me in right away, and I look at a lot of them now. So that was cool to see that it was right here in Truro. And when I skimmed through the list of bands that were on there, there were a couple bands that I do know. There's a couple that are familiar to me. Silas is one. We'll get into the full on in a minute, but Silas Spinell, he was a former guest of the show just last year. And Lizard the Bird, I've not had them on yet, and I know that they have a new singer. So probably way overdue that we have them on a future episode maybe. And your event is happening in the very near future. It's coming up this Saturday. A charity event for the Colchester Food Bank called Food for the Ears. So Ethan, maybe you give us a little bit of a history on where you came up with this idea. I realize it's your second annual. So maybe the origin of the event, what gave you the idea and the motivation to do this type of thing, and maybe a little bit about where the proceeds are going.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So last year around Christmas time, I was invited to a festival, like a mini festival show thing called Toonies for Tunes, hosted by the band Hyacinthus.
Mhm.
They're my friends I met through a summer camp like a year ago or 2 years ago, I guess now. Their proceeds also went to the food bank, so it's a little bit copying, but not too much. It's more of being inspired to create something here in my hometown too, and to bring the people together and just hear music. And yeah, so my band played at that event, and we had a great show, and it was awesome, and I met a lot of cool people, and I thought it'd be really cool to do my own kind of thing, my own thing here. So I started thinking only 2 months until the event. In the 2 months, sorry, in the 2 months last year, I planned a whole event, and I just did so many things so quickly.
Yeah.
And it was a very stressful time, but it was good. And that was Food for the Ears #1. We had a great show last year. We raised $1,700 and 200 pounds of food for the food bank once again. And we had Hyacinthus, that band, and some other Truro bands who are my friends and newly my friends too, that people I've never heard, and it was good. And this year, hopefully, it's going to be bigger and the same with lots of new people and more further out people, like from Halifax and other places, Dartmouth and such.
Yeah. Now the bands that you have on the lineup, I know some of them are local to your area, but how many bands are from away coming into Truro?
Yeah, so East End is from Truro. They actually recently dropped out because there's other things going on with their lives, so
Okay.
it could not be able to make it this Saturday. Um, my band, Still Guys Are, is from Truro, of course. We're all here. And the Orchids are also from Truro. They're
Okay.
that part of the punk set. Yeah. The rest are from Halifax and Dartmouth in that area.
And how did you connect with these bands? Like I said, I'm familiar with a couple of them. Some of them I'm not really that familiar with. And where you're younger yourself and you're hosting an all ages event, a lot of the bands that I'd be familiar with do bar scene, or that's
Yeah.
the type of circuit that they do is alcohol events.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's what pays the bills in a lot of cases. But you seem to be tapped into not just an indie scene, but maybe a little bit of a younger scene as well.
Yeah. So most of my weekends this year have been spent in Halifax at Radstorm, which is
Okay.
it's a great venue and we have lots of fun there. So a lot of the bands playing on Saturday are bands that I've met at Radstorm.
That makes sense
Aside
then.
from yeah, yeah, aside from the Truro bands, which I know them from school and stuff, because I'm in grade 12, I'm only 17.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, most of them I met at Radstorm. Silas, my friend's dad, put on a festival in Halifax, and he played there. And then I heard his name through that and met him at Nova Scotia Music Week in Yarmouth this
Okay.
fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like such a random connection. I think it's good to have people like
But
that.
we probably just narrowly missed meeting each other back then ourselves, because that's when I met
Yeah,
Silas as well. So we were
yeah,
probably circling the same areas at the
yeah,
festival for sure. And now with the bands that you have, you've split it up, and I can see the logic to it. You have a rock afternoon set that's maybe bands in your lineup, they're a little bit more digestible to general public. And then
yeah,
as you get into the later part of the evening, you have a second set of your punk bands that maybe you need to have an acquired taste already for that type of thing. But
yeah,
there's definitely a big following. And I know that Truro has quite the indie punk scene going on right now too. So that's probably
yeah,
exciting for a lot of locals.
yeah. So it was, I think only in the fall I decided that I think we should have a rock set and a punk set because we last year it was mostly rock and folk
Mhm.
ish music, and that drew in a lot of the older crowd and a lot of like all ages too, just
Mhm.
everybody, because everyone just it's easy to listen to, it's nice, it's chill. Uh, and then after going to Radstorm and meeting so many like cool punk bands and cool hardcore artists, I thought that needed to be integrated into the show too. And then I started going around looking for bands and I booked a whole lot. So 3 hours, which is a lot, but each band only has 25-minute sets. Because just due to timing.
Mhm.
Yeah. So each band has 25-minute sets and there's going to be, 11 bands.
And
Yeah.
what else do you have on site? Is there food, that type of thing on site as well?
So yeah, there's going to be some snacks and beverages sold, and there's going to be a merch table for bands merch and stuff. We have 5 art vendors this year, which are going to be selling their own made art that they've created.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's going to be a 50-50 draw and a silent auction section. It's going to be cool.
So you got a whole little vendor village going, and then the
Yeah.
fundraising activities on top of having two different sets through the day
Yeah.
for music. So yeah, you've got quite the little thing going on for a full day of
Yeah.
music and activities. And like as we mentioned, this is your second year. All that money that you're raising, you're going to donate towards the food bank. Is I assume that there's a way for people to bring in food donations. Do you have like a truck or something on
Yeah.
site?
Food donations will be accepted. We're just going to store them somewhere at the event, at the end of the event, or the next day, I guess, because it's going to be late.
Mhm.
We're going to bring it into the food bank. Cash is, of course, accepted, and there's e-transfer available, and just cash will be there with change and stuff, which will be good.
And speaking of cash and e-transfer, as far as admission into the event, and I assume that some of the thinking behind this comes from that all ages type venue that you've been visiting in the city. There's a $15 admission, but it's also pay what you can. So if there's anyone out there that, for very logical reasons, things are tough these days and things are expensive. So if you just can't afford it, if you got a whole slew of kids with you and you just can't afford to spring that money out, just pay what you can and know that the money's going to a good cause.
Yeah.
And is there any discussion, like we're only a couple days away from you having this year's event? So do you think that you're going to be jumping right into planning next year's, knowing how much effort it takes to host an event like this now?
Yeah, so I don't think right after the event I'll go straight into next year's event. As I'm moving away to the city next year, Halifax, for school.
Oh, okay.
So I'm still not entirely sure there's going to be a Food for the Ears 3 next
Sure.
year, 2025. I'll have to put some further consideration into that, but yeah, it's still a thought that's in there.
And now you don't have to divulge exactly what it is that you're doing for school next year, but I'm curious if it's music related.
Yeah, yeah, I'm taking
Uh,
music art.
Excellent. That's great to hear. So I imagine that even if the event doesn't come back in the exact same form, that there will be something else coming in the future in some form or another.
Yeah. For my future, I'm really just thinking about creating music, and even on top of that, I want to definitely plan some events and get some things going.
So, speaking of that, I want to spend a minute now that we've covered the specific event that we're hopefully everybody's out this Saturday to donate some money and catch some good music. But the band that you're in, maybe you could tell, Still Guys Are is the name of the band, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about who the band is, what type of music you're playing.
Yeah, so Still Guys Are, we formed about 2 years ago, year and a half ago. We really, it was my first band and the other bandmates' first band, and we just wanted to play some older music, and we play more 70s rock type stuff and Beatles and Elton John type stuff. There's some Jimi Hendrix in there too. Our guitarist, Ryan Hipper, he's pretty cool. He's been playing guitar for a few years now, yeah. And we just recently got a new bassist, Autumn McKay. She's very good. She learned very quickly for our band too. And our drummer, Lane Doran, he's very good. I'm also in the band Malcrawl that's playing during the punk set we just formed in the fall.
Oh, okay, so you're in both parts of the new
Yeah,
band. Okay,
yeah,
that's really cool.
yeah.
And I don't know, it is quite the list. I could not rhyme them all off the top of my head right now, but do you happen to have something there for reference that you could list off who's
Uh,
playing?
there's one on my wall over there. Do you want me to
Yeah,
go? I'll go grab it.
just we'll take a second right now and I can just edit this part.
Mini version of the poster.
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to give us a little rhyme off of the artists that are performing this weekend.
Yeah. So we have Still Guys Are, Hyacinthus, Captain Sunshine, Silas Bonnell, and Lizard the Bird in the rock set from 3 to 6. And then from 7 to 10 during the punk set, we have The Pipeline, Negative Rush, The Orchids, Malcrawl, Sig Sauer, and Pavel Stroke.
Awesome. And now, for anyone that's unfamiliar with those bands, I'll have some of that music incorporated throughout this episode as well. But for Still Guys Are you available out there anywhere for people to listen to yet?
No, not yet. I don't know if we have plans on recording anything. We're mostly just a live cover band. We play a lot. We have no originals so far. There is some talk about writing some originals, but I don't know. Everyone's really busy with work and school right now, so we're not too sure.
Well, I'm very interested to hear where the schooling's going, especially if this is the type of thing that you're doing
Yeah.
before you went to school with music programs. So definitely keep in touch in the future and let us know if you have any other projects going.
Yeah.
And for the other bands that are on the bill, a couple of you I've already been in touch with, and a couple of you I'll probably be reaching out to in the very near future. So, as I mentioned to you there, Ethan, when we were beginning the call, hopefully I get a chance to make it up the highway and visit you there on site and catch some of these bands myself. It sounds like an
Yeah.
exciting afternoon. And hopefully I run into you out there in the festival scene because it sounds like you're going to be floating around the music industry in the next couple of years yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. So, if anyone out there wants to follow what's happening, I'll put links down at the bottom for the event. And it is Saturday, April 6th at the Glengarry Best Western in Truro.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Ethan, for your time. And hopefully, I run into a few of the listeners out there this weekend.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Bye.